And we are live. Welcome to Wealthy Wednesday. My name is Leah Garcia, financial strategist and insurance professional. And it is my mission, my vision, my crusade to help you to properly protect, distribute, and transfer your wealth so that you can build a legacy and create generational and multi-generational wealth. Listen, we can all do that. And if you are here on these podcasts, if you are here trying to get yourself better, I'm telling you, you are the one in your family. You are the one who's been chosen to change your family's last name forever. And it would be my honor and my privilege to be a part of that journey with you. So with that being said, today's not about me. It is about our special guest speaker that I am so fired up. We met on LinkedIn, and I have to tell you, it was just like, I don't know. In my mind, I felt like it was magnetism like this. It was like we were just all magnetized up. We had an incredible conversation, and I just felt that I had to have her on my show. I need to learn from her. And by the way, I want to share this. I do these Wealthy Wednesday podcasts, these shows, and I do it not just as a speaker, as an interning, but I come here as a student. I love to showcase people that I believe I can learn from. So I want you to know these questions that I ask are authentic. These are genuine questions I want to know. None of this is pre-planned. We don't have a script. This is really organic. So, and I appreciate all of you joining, and hopefully we can bring you some value today. So with that being said, please give it up for our amazing guest speaker, Miss Elle Ballard. Thank you, Miss Elle, for joining us. Please introduce yourself. Tell us about you.
Thank you so much, Leah, for having me. I feel the same. I feel this awesome, amazing connection after we spoke. And thank you so much for inviting me today. I am so excited on this topic. I'm just passionate about this topic. There's so much that can be talked about. But yeah, my name is Elle. Just like Leah said, I am passionate about supporting and uplifting women and really helping them achieve that holistic abundance in all life areas. Because as women, we, and men, human beings, we want it all, right? We want to have it all. And we want to have this presence and abundance, however it looks in all areas of our lives. I also lead Women of the World Network community for women in business. And I also lead international retreats as we are getting ready to go to Morocco next year. I'm happy to be here with you, Leah. Good to see you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I want to go deep today. I've got some real questions when it comes to abundance. And we talk a lot about it. We've all watched The Secret. We probably have read some different books that talk about abundance. But I think that so often I hear in a lot of language, people putting on the gas and the brake. And if we're putting on the gas and the brake, we know what happens. We destroy our engine. And sometimes I see that in my day-to-day work when I'm helping families and helping them to create a financial strategy. They want to do these things and they intend to do things, but at the same time, they will do things to self-sabotage. So if it's okay, I have a question for you. Like I said, I want to go deep here.
Yes.
Help me to kind of, that's great.
Conversations.
So help me to understand, what do you think is really behind when people say, yes, 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 I want to take my business to the next level, or I want to take my finances to the next level, I want to take my health to that next level, but then they're going out and having the cheeseburger and everything else, or they want to do their finances better, they want to improve themselves financially, but then they go out and they buy a Louis Vuitton purse for $5,000. Like, what really is some insight that you can help us to understand what is really going on in our stinking thinking when we do that? And by the way, like I said, I'm coming here as a student. This is not a judgment. Okay? I've got my pen and my notepad right here, so I'm ready to learn.
Yeah, it's just so interesting how that happens, right? And I think before we even dive into this conversation, I want to say every thought we think, echoes in our body, right? And every emotion we feel manifests into the physical reality. So when we do these things, so we want these things, but we are still going and getting, like you said, that fast food and whatever it is, or whatever area of our lives there is something inside us that we still believe, right? We still believe in something so deeply that when we want that, we still need to visit first that belief that sits underneath it all, because that's what drives that action, right? To go and get that, oh, I'm just going to start tomorrow. I'm going to start my dieting tomorrow. You know what? Today I'm really hungry for that, for that fast food place. I'm just going to go and do it. We need to understand what drives that. So there is some kind of belief that's sitting, and that's I wanted to really come with kind of 3 things today to really touch on this, how all of it, how the abundance mindset can impact the abundance and wealth outside, right? And so one of that is really that belief that drives all of our actions. Because when we believe, or when we don't believe that we can accomplish that, right, we're not going to take a proper action, right? Or when we really not believing that we can lose that weight, or we can eat really healthy today, whatever that is, or we can start looking for that perfect partner in life and revisit that whole relationship. Or if we want to reach the next level in business and we need to take a proper action, if we don't have that belief behind, if we are still operating in scarcity, we're not going to be able to take a proper action to get to that what we want, and so whatever it is, like if I'm working on this next level in my business, I know I need to take proper steps. I've been detoxing for the last 2 days, and it's just been so amazing. Every time I do this, it's the clarity it creates in my mind, and just refocus. It's all connected, right? And I'm not saying like everybody needs to go, detox or like diet or whatever. I'm just saying that works for me. Whatever that is for individual people, that's working to get to that next action, to get them to motivate them to take action, right? That's what needs to happen, or change those beliefs. So if there is something inside that's stopping us, because the main thing is really, it's all up to us, nobody else. And so that was the next thing that I wanted to really talk about. Everything is up to us. Everything that's happening in our lives is reflection of how we think, what we think about ourselves, what we think about the world, what we think about our ability to lose that weight, right? And all of these little things. And I think it's important to revisit, because when we are not achieving that, it's important to revisit and really dig deep to what stands behind. So if you want to take time and just really write everything down on paper, for example, just as an exercise, in that moment, you are with yourself alone, right? And again, it could be anything, could be losing weight, finding new partner, hitting the next business level, opening a new business, finding a new job, getting promotion at work, whatever that is. When we are honest with ourselves, taking the time and just really putting everything in paper, without filtering, without judgment, just writing everything down and then looking at that, because nobody else will see it, just us. It's just our honesty, just me and me, right? Me with me. And then that could be a good start to understand what's behind all of that. Then we can honestly look at what's a belief. Is there a belief that I'm not going to be able to really lose that weight? Why should I even try? Going and or I'm not going to be able to eat healthy. I'm just going to crave that. Why should I even try, right? And so when we have that, we're not going to even go try. So that will create the action. So once we have that, I can do this, or once we understand what's limiting that, or what's this thinking pattern behind that, right? The thoughts that we have behind that, we can visit that and we can shift that around to then, oh, this is what's standing on my way. This is why I need to change that thought pattern, right? And it's habitual. Sometimes we don't even realize that we keep thinking the same thoughts. But once we visit them and once we, shift that mindset, then we take proper action. Then we give ourselves, okay, I'm going to start this week. I'm going to start this 2-3 days of clean eating and whatever that is again.
Wow, so much to unpack there. A lot of wisdom. One thing when I think of what you were saying is that Yoda says there is no try. Either do or do not.
Yeah,
Right? And
exactly.
sometimes we really say we use that. I hear people use that a lot, and I even correct my precious grandson who's 5 years old. There is no try. You either do it or you don't.
Yeah, because
Trying is blind.
already, yes, and it's already so we're doubting that already because we're saying we're gonna try. We almost doubting that. Yeah, it's okay if I don't succeed.
We've given ourselves an out. And we have a comment here by the amazing Mr. I have to call him Mr. Jones. I know it's David Jones, CEO, but in my world, he's Mr. Jones. And he says, understanding your patterns and programs is important. I agree with you. Mr. Jones is the CEO of Hello LLC. And if you don't know him, you have got to know him. If you want to take a deep dive into the metaverse, if you want to get rid of your dusty, crusty website and business card and upgrade to that next level, he is the answer man. Him and Tara are an amazing, my most favorite power couple here on LinkedIn. They're a 1-2 punch for sure. And so he says, facts, no such thing as try. That's right. You either do it or you don't. Trying equals excuses. You are on point, Mr. Jones, as always. And I actually dubbed him Mr. Mike Drop Jones. Actually, he always gives tons of nuggets and golden wisdom.
I love it.
Let me ask you, Ellie, you talked about patterns, right? Patterns. What are some ways, because patterns are invisible to us. Our patterns are our blind spots. We all have habits that we do without thinking, clicking the pen and twirling our hair and different things like that we don't know until somebody says, why are you always twirling your hair? Why are you clicking your pen? You're getting on my nerves. Like what are some things that we can do to identify or start to identify some of those blind spot, those patterns that are invisible to us, but probably maybe they got like sore thumbs to other people. So share with us a little bit about that, Elle.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a great question. I don't know if there's one answer to answer it. I think it's a great awareness to have, right? But it's not always easy, especially if something like you said, clicking pens, something so habitual that we don't even notice, especially when we are deep into a thinking process or we're working on something. We can clench our teeth. We don't notice that, right? Because we are in the moment of thinking and all of that. But I think once we receive that feedback, whether it's from someone giving it to us, like you said, we need to revisit that area or maybe there is something that's here that we have that thought or intuition or that comes to mind. We can revisit that and shift that, right? I know for me, I'm big on mind, body, and heart connection, and that's what I do in my program on a deeper energy dive and everything around, and I bring the dancing into it because for me the whole feel and how we feel. And it doesn't have to be a professional dancer. It's not the point. The point is the mind-body connection. So for me, when I feel energy, like my body can feel when I'm not in the right energetic vibration. And that's how I can tell for me that this is something that I should pursue or not pursue. And I even ask myself when I'm about to launch some new programs or something new, whatever it is. And I think it's very underestimated once we develop a habit of listening to ourselves and the feeling inside of us that something generates. It's the same to me with food, right? Some foods I just cannot, my body, it just doesn't like them. I feel it right away. And I don't eat them, right? Because it's just, I know how I'm going to feel some kind of way after those foods. Or if I'm planning something, I'm thinking out loud, I know already how I'm feeling in the moment about it. And that's kind of how I work with myself, to let my body tell me. And I'm really big on this mind, body, and heart connection, because we are such energetic beings. And when we tap into that, there are a lot of answers there for us. Yeah.
What resonates with me is I'm a martial artist. I do martial arts. I've been training karate for many years. And one thing for me that I find that if I am not showing up in my karate, like
Yes.
it impacts me in a really profound way. And it really is that body connection. And for
Yeah.
me, it's like a pattern interrupt. A pattern interrupt doesn't just have to be in our thinking or in our words. It's literally, to me, it's in our body, and it comes through our DNA, right? It's really who we are.
Yes.
So I love that you said that dancing, and you don't have to be a professional dancer, but just turn on some music and just dance like no one's watching. And hopefully nobody is watching, but if they are, you're giving them a great show. Anyway,
Yes,
right? So,
absolutely. And the fact that, yeah, exactly, right? Like we do that in our program, where we practice that. We can dance in front of the mirror. We don't have to, depending on each individual preference. But the fact that we are getting out from the head into the body, it relaxes us. It helps with our health. It takes stress away. It takes worry away. When I do that, I'm in that moment of bliss for me. And then after I'm done, then I can tackle all the tasks that are ahead, or I need to tackle that week or that day, right? Yes, definitely. And I love that you do karate. That's awesome.
So my first karate instructor said, when we bow, people think that it is about giving reverence and respect to those that came before us. And it definitely is part of it. But it's
Yeah.
also a sign to us to leave your troubles at the door. So that when you're coming into the dojo, you leave all your troubles and worries there. And some dojos actually have like a trouble tree or a basket or something. And we're not physically doing it, but it's just mentally leaving our troubles there. And he said, you can pick up your troubles when you go back out. Don't worry, they will still be there. If you want them, you can go back and collect them. But oftentimes what happens is the mat works it out. Like literally, you're giving yourself that opportunity to take a break from the worries and troubles. And the training will just help you through. I don't know how to explain this, but what I find is when I go back out, I don't pick those troubles back up because I have found some new answer, solution.
Yes. Isn't that amazing? Yes.
Yes, it is addicting. It
Yes.
truly is.
Yes,
It's an adrenaline.
Yes, exactly my point. And I love how you leave that at the door. I love that. It just has to be said about that, because energetically, when we put intention there, it's happening, right? We're leaving that. It's an intention of just living. It's a similar exercise, like I was saying before. If we have some kind of inside of us, something stopping, because I don't know, it's different for everybody, right? We don't know unless we visit that, and putting it down on paper, it's similar thing to as leaving it at the door. Only that on paper we will actually see what that is, if we're truly honest, and if we're just ready to let it out, all of that, right? But I love that leaving it at the door, and the whole bow, and yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's been very impactful for me. Yeah. So, one question I really want to ask you,
Yes.
because I hear this a lot, and I'd love your insight on this. I know a lot of people who are very, very giving, and they want to give to people. They do fundraising and all of these different things to help other people. But at the same time, they're really struggling financially themselves.
Hmm.
And I really wonder if that feels so incongruent to me. And I'm not saying that if you're not struggling not to give. I'm not meaning that at all. What I'm saying is sometimes people will go to an end where it puts themselves into a financial bind. And I've seen this with a few of my clients lately. And then I'm wondering, that giving, is that really having the impact that they would like it to? Is it coming out of abundance, or is it really attracting more scarcity, lack, and limitations? I don't know. I would love to know your insight on this. Elle, please share some wisdom with us about that.
It's such a great question. It's such a great question, and I've had a few conversations where I experienced that, and I heard that exact thing, and it's just so interesting how that happens. And human beings are, beautiful beings, right? We just want to give and help, but it has to be an equal give and receive to me. It's I had this conversation with someone, and she was thinking to open a nonprofit at that time when we talked, and I was asking her, how are you going to monetize that? And she was telling me that at the beginning, she's just going to be word of mouth, and she can just dedicate the time, right? So she was planning to really dedicate, which is so beautiful, to give, right? And just without, but I was telling her, okay, hold on, you're going to spend your time. So this is like you spending your time in opening this and building this. You need to get some monetization, right? And it's something that needs to be talked about. And I know for myself, and by the way, this is also what I learned, leading community of women of the world from different countries. I learned that it also can be influenced by our cultural upbringing, where we come from, how we grew up, the environment we grew up in, the country we grew up in, right? It's I myself experienced, because I come from a different country. It's just I grew up in a completely different environment, right? And so some things you assume, it's just a different world, different countries, the way you operate. So that is completely different conversation as well, because that's influenced by our upbringing. That's something we knew when we were little, growing up, maybe seeing our parents, that childhood influence, that programming is just definitely something to talk about and revisit. And there are things that need to be unlearned. And I definitely had to go through that myself, like unlearning something that are no longer serving me where I am today. That said, I have experienced such a profound, once I started, charging, when we start charging what we are worth, we are giving this, we are feeling worthy for ourselves and in ourselves. So we're giving back to ourselves. And when our cup is full, what I noticed is we are letting others having their cup full. So we are giving so much more when we are taking enough to ourselves. And I just love that. I love the fireworks. Yeah. So when we and that comes to, again, the conversation on the whole worthy, how we're feeling inside. That's coming back to ourselves, right? Because it all starts with ourselves, how we feel inside, and it's just such a noble thing to do, open a nonprofit or being able to help, being ready to give. But imagine if you are, filling your cup, that it's overflowing, and you're giving from that. Imagine that. It could, I have goosebumps right now speaking. It can double and triple the amount that we give back, right? And so and then we are feeling fully abundant. We are giving from that abundant source, and we are really leading with that, versus giving from scarcity, or it's just really yeah. So that's how I definitely learned for myself. I felt that difference in me, and I've realized, wow, when I am charging what I'm worthy and when I'm enough, and really feeling my own cup first. And it's important to hold that space, by the way, as well. It's just important to hold that space vibrationally, without going back to the old pattern, because when we are doing that, we are respecting our boundaries. We are operating within the boundaries of ourselves. We give ourselves, we hold that for ourselves, that vision. But then we are also able to bring it to others, to share it with others, and we bring others into that circle. Yeah, and yeah, it's just so important. It's such a great the great question to have, but it's also a great exercise and great awareness to have, and start exercising in just understanding how that, and just even just try that and see, because it's just beautiful when we are able to do that for ourselves. We are just giving so much more to others too.
That's so profound. And yes, I'm feeling the your goosebumps for me too. They're coming through for sure. Cassandra Terry has this quote, and it just came to me. She says, "What's in the cup? What fills the cup is for us. What spills out onto the saucer is for
Yeah,
others."
there you
So
go.
we have to fill ourselves up first to be able to have that extra to give to others. And I think that goes for anything. I think it goes in our health, in our wealth, in our mindset. If we're drowning, we're pulling down,
Exactly. Exactly.
right? So that's really what came up for me.
Mhm.
And you touched on something that we gotta rewind, we gotta go back to, which is when we're entrepreneurs, a lot of times I see entrepreneurs, they've got the logo, the website, they're getting up early, staying up late, burning the midnight oil, they're giving their heart and soul and everything they have and everything they know into their business. And then when it comes time to collect the check, they feel almost apologetic, or
Mm,
they will sometimes, kind of discount when before they even say in their mind that, whatever the price was, they discounted and now they give a different price. Or if people question the price, then they will, kind of barter or just kind of push away the money in some way. So can we talk a little bit about that? What is going on there within themselves? Like, is it about their beliefs? Is it about their mindset? Like, what is that?
yeah, that imposter is huge, right? That imposter syndrome comes, and yeah, it's and sometimes it could be imposter syndrome that is just telling, okay, I'm not good enough. I need to go and get that certification, or I need to go and get that. Um, it's it's just it comes. I had a conversation with someone else about when she was telling me she's so ready to pay others. She's just, she's just ready to pay for for other services and to buy other services, but she's not ready to accept payment for herself to herself. And she happened to be one who just, starting her business, and then that's the thing, right? When we start charging for ourselves, we can charge for others for sure, or we can work, be part of the company. I definitely realized that for myself when I started charging. That's when our self-worth happens to come to the. It's so interesting how that happens. When I worked for the company, I was selling company's product. It just never really came up. But when I started charging for my own, that's where we get that imposter, we get the perfectionism, maybe, that I'm not ready today, I need to finish this website, I need to like finish this landing page, whatever, make it so beautiful, whatever that is. And so we're stopping ourselves from going from again, action taking, from continue taking action, from continue pushing forward. I think it's important to recognize that imposter. It happens to everybody, and by the way, it happens to everybody, not only for those with those starting business. It happens. It doesn't matter how many levels one have achieved. I was speaking the other day, and I was quoting, some of the really well-known people, that the thoughts that the thought patterns they have, the thoughts and words they tell themselves after releasing the next New York Times bestseller book or whatever that is, right? It happens to everybody because we are all, human beings, and we have our minds, play tricks on us. We have good days. We have, days where these thoughts just come up. I think it's important to recognize that, and still push forward. So recognize that this is imposter, yes, and then I'm going to still go forward and do that thing. Or recognize that, okay, that's perfection in me saying, but without, yes, we do need to recognize what stands behind that. Again, if there is a childhood situation that happened where, for example, parents have been saying, you're not good enough. It's just, whatever little things we hear that we grow up with, and they stuck with us, they stay, and even if they didn't mean to say that, at all, like they didn't even, we can, as kids, we might have assumed something there, or whatever that is. And that can influence that as well, right? Because in our adult lives, then we would be, okay, well, I heard that growing up, and then maybe they were right. Maybe I'm just, not good enough today. Maybe I should not charge or give a discount, or after this so many, then I'm going to increase my, all of these things. It's important to understand again and just go there. And once we understand that, it's important to, yes, I hear you, but I'm going to go forward and just really keep going forward, because once we are in the action, we are moving forward, we're going to see things happening, and we're going to prove ourselves wrong. But if we sit in that space without taking proper action or going forward, we can, it's addicting. and we all have that. That's the thing. We still need to go forward, recognize that, but go forward, take steps. If you want, if even taking small steps towards something is important versus not doing anything. And then we will see, because we don't want to be marinating in that, whatever that is, right? We want to push ourselves forward. Again, it comes back to us. It's all up to us. At the end of the day, our worthiness and everything that the patterns that we have, the where we grow up, what we grow up with, and all of that.
Yeah, that's so, so good. So many things came up for me. I heard this quote and it said, have the goal to become a millionaire, not for the money, but for the person that you need to become
Yes,
in order to
exactly.
achieve that. And so oftentimes people will say, well, they have so much money. Why are they still doing that? And they're so greedy. And, they don't understand that it is about refining ourself and getting
Yes,
ourself. We're chasing that next version of ourself. The money is just a byproduct. It
yes,
truly, truly is. And sometimes I think that people are more afraid of success than they are of failure, is what
yeah.
I kind of learned and what I'm hearing from what you're saying. A
Mm.
lot of times entrepreneurs are selling themselves. And what I mean by that is they have a gift, a talent, they're a speaker, they're an author, something that comes very, very easy to them. Maybe they're good at tech and it comes very, very easy to them. And oftentimes I hear, well, it only took me 5 minutes. I can't really charge $500, $1,000, $10,000, $100,000. It took me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But see, that's the mindset in my mind. It's not about the time it took you, it's the value that you're bringing and your belief in that value that you're bringing. Because what's your talent that took you 5 minutes, I may never be able to do. I don't have that gifting. That's not my talent. So I think oftentimes a lot of entrepreneurs will think it has to be $1 for a minute, or it has to equate some way, translate what they're monetizing into a time frame that it took them.
Yes,
So do you see that? I mean,
yes, for sure.
is is I mean, and I think about it this way. I heard this little
Yeah.
anecdote. There was this gentleman and he was trying to fix his plumbing. And he went to Home Depot and he picked up some tools and he came back and he's working on it and getting different pieces and parts and going back and forth to Home Depot. And, this goes on for a couple of days and turns into a couple of weeks. And now he's got many other things other going on with that. And so finally he decides, I'm going to call a plumber. That's it. I'm going to call a plumber. Calls a plumber. The plumber comes in, takes a look, goes back out to his car, brings in a little hammer, tap, tap here, tap, tap there. 5 minutes later, he's done. He hands the bill for $500. And the
Yeah.
homeowner said, what the heck? You were here for 5 minutes. How can this be? This doesn't make any sense. He said, you're not paying me for my time. You're paying me for all the knowledge and wisdom for me to know exactly which hammer and exactly where to tap. So
How
that's
was
what I think.
Mhm.
And so what is happening when people are afraid or they feel like it has to translate for their time just because it was easier for them? They think that they have to discount it. It can't be worth that much money.
Yes, because it's important. We never know what happened before that, right? And I love that story because it's just so true. We don't know what that person actually, how many hours that person, well, back to your story, learned to actually get the skills. That's number one. Number two, how many clients he already had before this one to understand what the issues in the first place. Um, and there is a great quote, and I don't know exactly how it goes, but it's really tell me. It's about something around the lines of I don't want to see the person who achieved this. I want to meet the person who spent thousands and thousands and thousands of hours perfecting that skill and what he achieved today or she achieved today, right? And it's paraphrasing that quote, but it's really we don't know how many years that person actually worked to perfect that skill, to be able to know where to hammer whatever that is, right? Or to be able to tackle that one. We don't know what that person went through, what kind of learning curve that person had before we just met this person, right? And so I think that's an important thing to remember. And I just always love that quote because it is so true. Again, in business building, we keep going. we keep going every single day, and it takes courage to keep going. It takes a stamina to keep going. It's not easy, right, to wake up every single day and still having that purpose that we are after, that goal, that mission that we are after every single day, no matter how yesterday went. It takes stamina, it takes courage, but we keep going. And that's why I love that quote, because it's not about winning of that or getting that prize, right? It's about how many hours of dedication it took to actually keep going, and sweating day after day just to get that. So yeah, I love that example. I love that story, and I think that's just the main thing to remember for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so good. And the thing is, for me, what I've learned in my journey is that people think that, especially on social media, that people are looking for the after. They want to see the people who have the cars and the jewelry and the house. But really, what I've learned, and I've watched this even with my mentor, one of my mentors, people
Mhm.
want to see the journey. They want to see the mess. They want to see when you flub it up, because then you're relatable. If everything looks picture perfect, then they think, well, I can't be that. I'm not perfect. That person, that thing, that business is perfect. And we're
Yeah.
all imperfect, but we can give these filters and do all these things and make it look like this. And I always think of, I saw this picture of an apple and it looked beautiful and shiny and red and delicious. And then on the other side, it was eaten and rotten and brown and dusty, crusty. We're only seeing one dimension on social media, but we all
Yes.
have a behind the scenes. And I did this post a couple of months ago, and I was doing these in my garage at the time. Okay, because it was at a different time and stuff. And so I took a picture of me in the garage, like all this different lighting, boxes propped up with a laptop, and I posted it, and I got a lot of views on that. And I didn't do it. Wasn't thinking that I was really showing the before. I just thought, hey, here I am. Come and see me. Come and join us. But what I realized is that people resonated with it because they said, wow, look at, you've got cardboard boxes, you've got the bicycle back there, they could relate to it. Anybody can start a podcast. You don't need a studio, you don't need a professional mic. It will help, but you can start it anywhere. So that's what really came up for me. So we're kind
Yes.
of winding down here. Elle, what is your vision? Where can we expect to see you here as we're in the second half of 2024? What's going on for you? What new and exciting things do you have coming up here?
Yes. I am so excited. Leo, by the way, thank you for having me again. And this conversation, I cannot believe we've been talking for 40 minutes. It's such a close to my heart conversation to have. That is just time, flows by so quickly, right? I'm excited to, I've been working on Women of the World Network, and we just turned 5 years old. I'm celebrating that. We turned 5 years old in March this year, and we published 3 books, got over 45 number one international bestsellers, and we're publishing our book number 4, by the way, dedicated to women entrepreneurs. In October this year, and we just have such beautiful women. But I wanted to also add something to keep supporting women on a deeper level, on in life. And so that's where I'm introducing the Be Free, Be Fulfilled, and Be Fabulous, where it's really, again, our conversation today, it's all about different areas of our lives that sort of influence the other area, right? I couldn't separate. And the freedom, by the way, when I talk about freedom, I talk about inner freedom a lot, and I bring the dancing modalities into that, because it's all about freeing. That's what's holding us from the inside, freeing that inside out, right? So bringing the beautiful uniqueness of that individual forward, and just really developing and growing from inside out. And that's to me is um, I'm excited just to bring that, introduce that to the world. And of course and so every module has some kind of a dancing that I bring in. And it's not about the dancing technique, it's just really about, again, connecting mind, body, and heart, because heart, where the intuition comes from and everything, but it's all connected. So I'm excited about that. I'm bringing international retreats. We just did a retreat in Turkey. It was absolutely transformational. We are doing Morocco next year, in 2025, and I bring my programs into the retreats, really combined with this cultural immersion, because when we are in the new environment, we really rediscover ourselves. We open up, but we get also a lot of insights. Yeah, and so that, and it's of course it's a shorter period of time, like during the retreats, but I bring that glimpse of what that is into our retreats as well. And so I'm excited to be introducing those things to the world and really supporting more women worldwide, just really achieving what that is for them, and bringing that in all areas of their lives. Thank you.
Wow, that's so much good stuff. I love what you said, getting out of your environment. Because if
Mhm.
we're trying to have transformation, but we're in our same home, in our same routine, in our same patterns, right? And all these things that we have around us remind us of things. So
Yes.
we get on this Zoom and we think we're going to have this transformation, and we take the notes and we study and we download the workbook, and but we're still in the same environment. I think getting out of your environment, it's kind of a tabula rasa. You have an opportunity to have a blank slate and kind of reconfigure is what I think. So
Yes, exactly. And it's sometimes it's a little discomfort, it's a different environment, but that's what the key here is, when we are in a different environment, especially if we are in transition phase in life, especially if we're working on something new or want to work on something new, it's such a key time. Or if we just overworked, and want a space to give back to ourselves, back to that refilling our own cup, that's just such a great time and space to be able to dedicate to ourselves, because we are with ourselves, nobody is interrupting, we are in that space, we are eating different food, we are in a different environment, right? All of those things, and that's where the transformation can happen, deep transformation, just because we are letting ourselves in that free and just explore. Might be a little bit discomfort there, but it's all for the good and the big scheme of things.
change is not for the weak.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
definitely not. There are no pansies in transformation,
Yes,
right? You got to toughen up, Buttercup, if you really want to have true
yes,
transformation. It
yes.
is painful. It is a metamorphosis, and we can only do it for ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. But
If
it's we
we
just don't know. We don't know what's outside of that. And that's the thing to me, is like we get stuck in this, in that whatever situation we are in, and we stay there, and there is that fear of just crossing a little bit, like making a couple of just doing a couple of steps to get out of that situation, whether it's a relationship that's not serving us anymore, whether it's the way that we want to lose, whatever that is, um, just letting us explore that, and just letting us be, just getting outside of that, even just by little steps, taking little steps, and just seeing,
absolutely.
exploring that and seeing what that looks like. It's been such a beautiful conversation, Leah. Thank you.
Oh my
Thank you
gosh,
for
this
having
was so wonderful. I learned a ton. I have some great action. So give us an action step, something that we can do. Give us a takeaway. You've given us a lot of thoughts and things to really meditate on, what's that one action step? You talked about Kaizen, little steps. What's the one little action step that our audience could take to start that transformation?
Yes, I love, I mentioned how I notice how my body feels when I'm working on something new, or I'm testing it out. So that to me is huge energy check, vibrational, because our body knows and our body tells us. So if your listeners are working on something or thinking about doing something, and they are not sure how to go about it, first checking how that feels in their body, just sitting with it for a little bit. And if that generates an amazing energy and excitement, please take steps, because when we want something that's inside of us, it's not by mistake. There's never a mistake about it. There is something that we need to pursue. And I've been really postponing something that I wanted to pursue, and I always want to share that, taking small steps and doing something that you really want to do is so important, starting today, because that will give you energy to keep going, because that will get you excited, that will get you happy and fulfilled and bring you that joy. But then it will also allow you all this well-being and health. You're just going to keep going for that, and then just see what happens. That will be and whatever small steps can be taken today need to be taken today.
That's beautiful. I always say the answer is always within us. We know, and we have to tap in and tune into our body. The issue is that we don't take the time to sit in silence. We constantly have all this exterior stimulation. So one thing I do is I go and I sit on the beach. I don't take my phone. I might take a book. I might take some nibbles, but I try to take like a really pretty blanket or a towel and just sit. And when I first started doing this, it was challenging. Like and so why I don't take pictures is because I don't bring my phone out there, because it's too much temptation for me. So I just leave everything and go for a walk and sit. And now I'm finding I really I need it now. Right.
Yeah.
But it's really, sometimes we have to slow down to be able to speed up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Yes.
So how do they connect with you? Where do they find you? What's your social media handles? How do we learn more?
Yeah, lballard.com is my website. And I have information on pretty much everything there. And then womenoftheworldnetwork.com is our community. We have plenty of great supportive meetings on our calendar there as well. So, yeah.
And what's your best social media? What's your social media where they can find you?
Yeah, so L Ballard, LinkedIn, and L Ballard, Instagram and Facebook as well. Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for your time. This has been so incredible. I'm just really have so much admiration and respect for what you do. You truly are bringing transformation to your audience, to the women. And I know this is going to be one that is going to be liked, commented, and shared for sure. So that's it for us. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you sharing. And what is your biggest takeaway? Put it in the comments. Reach out to Elle. She's a wealth of knowledge, and she's such a wonderful spirit. You absolutely need to get to know her. I'm telling you, you will be grateful and thankful for this connection. So again, my name is Leah Garcia, financial strategist and insurance professional. Please download my free ebook. It is The Wall of Wealth, which is my proprietary one-page financial plan. It will help you to temperature check where you are financially and where are those booby traps in your own financial plan to help you to bring that awareness so that we can avoid those booby traps in your financial future. So we will see you all at the top, because we all know it is way too crowded at the bottom. That's it for us. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.